What's up, folks? My voice is raw. Another crazy day today. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Marc. Come on everybody. Happy birthday to me. Boom. Doo-doo-doo. What's up? Tactical, practical. Welcome, guys. Pop into the chat. Ooh, we are a small group. No, are we going to break 100? I don't know, but it's all good. Because today, welcome, guys. What's up? Can you hear me and can you see me? Can you hear me loud and clear? And can you see me clearly? I'm a little bit giddy. It's my birthday. It was an amazing birthday. I created content. What's up, folks? It's going to be a little, it should not be chilled today. It should be, I should be hyper. I should be excited. I'm about to reach the big 5-0, y'all. 48 years old. That's young. How you guys doing? Good? Welcome to Content Creators Session 3. Good. Ready? Pretty full whiteboard, right? Should I bring it over? I don't want the tripwire to get tangled up. We good? Look at that sucker. Look at that sucker. Whoa. Okay, let's go. Quick, fast. Under 1 hour today. Okay, as you know, in previous content creator modules, how you guys doing? Are you enjoying the ride of creating content? Should I call some of you out? Awesome content, guys, by the way, in the group. Amazing content. You guys are eared. Okay, let's go, man. And women, let's do this. Content creators, session 3. Welcome. Today's going to be another strategy. But instead of teaching you the strategy, I'm going to demonstrate it because the heading today, or the strategy today, is tactical, practical. Tactical by the teacher and practical for the viewer or listener. You are stepping into teacher time, folks. This type of content is, I call it tactical, practical, because you're stepping into the trainer mode. You're stepping into teaching something tactical that will be practical for the user. So let me be clear on this. Today, most of the hour, it will be 1 hour, because the story stitching is not really prominent here, because what you're doing is you're teaching a tactic that can be used. So does it have to be technical? This is more of a hands-on piece of content. Who here? Let's start like this. I already know. I know some people here that have taught online. Who teaches online? Who has created tactical content? What do I mean by What do you mean by tactical? Tactical means you're doing a webinar. Okay? So it's like you can have a live webinar or you can have a not a live webinar. So some of you may be saying to yourselves, I'm not ready to teach. I don't know what to teach. Well, you can teach anything that I teach. You can literally copy what I teach and put it in your own words with your own screen shares. My format's pretty simple. I ramble the lesson, I call it a lesson, and then I go to the demo when I say, can you guys see my screen, please? But this does not have to be live, and your content can or cannot be live. That's the assignment I'm throwing you, okay? Is to become the teacher on your piece of content. So I like to have a couple of people on when I'm doing mine. It feels more interactive. Even if there's 2 people on, my first tactical practical webinars had between 3 and 6 people. That's what they had. But just the element of having someone there. Some of you do Zooms. Who here does? There you go. We got some leaders here. Whoa. We got some leaders here. You guys, many of you do this. Now, here's the hard part about doing it live. I want you to keep this in mind keep in mind that this is for content purposes. It's for packaged content. So if there are 2 people watching, it doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, there could be 1 person watching, or in my case, for this content, 0 people watching. So if you're saying to yourself, this is weird, Marc, I'm going to be teaching and there'll be no one watching. What do you think courses are? Courses are that. When, I don't know, I could come out with some, when Tai Lopez, when Alex Becker, which is better than Tai Lopez, by the way. That's debatable. Right now, I'm really into Sam Ovens and Alex Becker. Mr. Becker, I'll call him, because he's helped. Mr. Becker has single-handedly helped me more in the past month than anyone else so far. And that includes Grant Cardone and Gary. No, they've all helped me for different things. But right now, at this point in my life, in my business, and the next step I'm taking, Alex Becker all the way. And he's hilarious. He's got the driest sense of humor. And he's amazing. He's made tens of millions of dollars. And he runs a software company. He's incredible. Alex Becker is incredible. So when these people teach, they do it on YouTube videos. And his stuff is super tactical. But there's nobody watching. He does it with the intention of uploading it, which he does. So who's down for that challenge? Who's down for creating a piece of content where you are the teacher? Here are the bullets I have. There's 4 bullets to keep in mind. It's teacher time. You step into the leader. You're the teacher. I want you to talk like you're talking to a classroom. That's what I put. Webinar or classroom. You're teaching. You're teaching something. Like I said, tons of things you can teach. You already know a ton of stuff if you follow me, yo. It's a tactical lesson. I already said that. And it's got a practical outcome. So I'd like to start by saying that I already created mine. I'm going to share it with you. It's a piece of content. It's actually called, what's it called? Thousands of new audience members per post. Thousands of new audience members per post. And it's really what I generate now. I can't believe it. I can't believe this. For every 1 piece of content, this is what I'm doing. This is not what you have to do. Believe me, you probably don't want to do this one. This took me about a week. This piece of content that you're about to see, I believe is the best piece of content I've ever created. It's a full, well, let me tell you what it is, and then I'll share it with you. Then I'll come back out and you'll have a real good idea of what your challenge is. It's to give a lesson, a tactical lesson. What I've been doing every Sunday for the past 3-4 years, 3 years straight in Branding YOUniversity. Who used to come to my Sunday webinars, yo? Every Sunday. Then after that, I still did them, like every Thursday. That's what you're doing. You're doing one of what I do. Just do one. Just go for it. And that's the content assignment. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about mine, because I was a little excited about this one specifically. I want to see you guys with the whiteboard. I want to see you guys with the slides. I want to see you guys with the teacher persona. I can't wait to see some of you do that. I see many of you do it, and I'm going to say right away, right off the bat, many people that follow my stuff, I watch, I got eyes, I can see. You're way better than I am. Way better at the presentation portion. I don't know about the actual tactic. My tactics are pretty solid, but I'm just saying that because I'm still, well, because first of all, they work. I make sure they work before I teach them. But also the last one, this one, it's everything that I've put together in all of my experience in less than 40 minutes. It's actually 40 minutes. Warning. Once I plug it in, my piece of content is 40 minutes. A tactical, practical piece of content should be an hour, about an hour. Sometimes mine have gone, what? What's my longest webinar some of you have actually sat through? Oh God, I've got 4-hour marathons. I would try to keep it under an hour. This one you're about to see, which is thousands of new audience members per post. That's what I call it, but it's per piece of content. And what it is my entire syndication process in 40 minutes. Like, it's crazy. It's my, in my opinion, it's my best piece of content. It's my best training in 40 minutes. Is it training? It's what I do. Now, I'm gonna share my enthusiasm because it's my birthday and I'm taking the floor with a little bit of, I was gonna say pre-ramble, a little preamble of pre-ramble. This piece of content would normally take me 4 hours. What you're about to see, my tactical, practical piece of content example, will be the next piece of content I release in Content Creators Session 1. What was it? Reverse story stitching. I created content for that. It's when the tragedy becomes a blessing. Remember that when I lost my Facebook account? That was Session 1. That was Strategy 1. Strategy 2 was content on the go. I said my content was when you surpass your hero, don't get cocky because they may save you later. The Rubik's Cube thing. Those 2 pieces of content were some of my best work thus far. So I had to outdo myself today with this piece of content. And I believe I did. It's 5 hours. It would have taken me 4 or 5 hours to go through all this, especially with the ramble on. That it took me all week to sketch it out, all week to kind of, well, first I brainstormed the whole crap out of it. I'm not going to show you that because there's piles of notes and you won't be teaching this. You'll be coming up with your own tactic. But in short, it's like octo content, Octo content model, syndication to all platforms, and how they bring back all these leads. Thousands of new audience members per piece of content. I draw it out, I sketch it all out. 16 platforms, 16 platforms. So I say what the platforms are, as you'll see. I explain where stuff is hosted on them. Like for example, my videos are hosted on YouTube. My audio is hosted on SoundCloud, and how SoundCloud spits out all these podcasts with an RSS feed, and how I manually syndicate to YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Tumblr. And I go through all of that, and which ones are social media, which ones are audio, and which at-home devices. I'm on Google Home now too. Then I go into building the audience from them landing on my blog. Then I go into why I do this and how to create a strong fansmanship. And then I go on to the types of content that I put on each platform. And then I demonstrate it all. I demo it all. Like I go, okay, now I'm going to share the screen. I do all of that in 40 minutes. So that's what you're about to see. Don't get overwhelmed by it. It's a piece of content I'm the most proud of. But as far as instructions go for this, there's no real instructions. It's just teach something that's tactical and put on the teacher hat. There you go. And if you have no ideas, go back in my training, go on thewealthytrainer.com, and you'll find something. So right now what I'll do is I'll plug it in, and I'll see you in 40 minutes. I'll come back out. I'll watch it again with you, and I think it's awesome. So that's my birthday gift to myself, is that piece of content. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to plug it in. You can see it. Maybe you'll get ideas from it, but it'll definitely paint the picture of, it'll definitely demonstrate how a tactical, practical, not live webinar is built. So it's a training that's not live. Let's do this, guys. I'm going to watch it with you. Here we go. Hey guys, Marc with the C here. And the headline said, how I get thousands of new audience members per blog post. Now let's be very clear here. That's thousands of new audience members per one new piece of content. So more specifically, we'll go through what I do with each new piece of content I create, why I do it, and how I do it. Oh, look at that. Let's go. So here's the plan today. I'll just briefly give you a snapshot of what's going on here on the whiteboard, and then I'll use the magic of video to zoom in as we look at the details that I spent a lot of work putting down on here to make things as simple and as short as I can. And then we're going to switch to my computer once again with the magic of video, and I will show you guys all of this happening with my last piece of content that I did last week. So here's the snapshot. I syndicate my content to 16 different platforms. They're all listed here. I'll show you what they are as we zoom in just a sec. That's what I do. Then every piece of content that's outgoing on these platforms has a call to action, a CTA, and it's always the same CTA. The CTA is to bring them to my blog. Now let's get into the why I do this. I do this for two reasons: to build my audiences with an S, and to create or strengthen my fandom. We'll talk about this in a sec as I zoom in. And how I do it, how do I get thousands, and I mean thousands, of new leads, audience members per blog post, piece of content? The how is the call to action. I put the content out and it brings me back audience members. So let's go. With the magic of video, let's zoom in to the first 8x10 sheet of paper. There we go. We are here and I'm here. How's it going, guys? So the platforms that I syndicate to are number 1, YouTube. Number 2, LinkedIn. Number 3, Twitter. Number 4, Facebook. Number 5, Instagram. Number 6, Pinterest. Number 7, Tumblr. Number 8, SoundCloud. Number 9, iTunes. Number 10, Spotify. Number 11, Google Podcast. Number 12, Stitcher. Number 13, iHeartRadio. Number 14, Pandora. Number 15, Amazon Alexa. And number 16, Google Home. Alexa, stop. Let me shut her off 1 sec. I didn't realize she was listening. She's always listening. So as I mentioned, you will see me do this. As a matter of fact, I just did it the other day to my one piece of content. I put it across all these platforms. Now I want to explain a couple of things. YouTube acts as my video host. This is where I upload my video to, and I embed with the YouTube code wherever I'm inputting my video, so on and so forth. So YouTube is my video host. SoundCloud is my audio host. Now, as you can see here, these are the social media platforms: YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Tumblr. These are the podcast platforms: SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. And these are the at-home devices, such as the Amazon Echo, the Alexa, and the Google Home device. If you're asking yourself, do I actually go to all these platforms with my one piece of content? The answer is yes, absolutely. Now let me use the magic of video to center the next page over here. Okay, here we are. This is my blog. Since all of my pieces of content from the 16 platforms have a call to action, all the calls to action, as previously mentioned, come to my blog. Now here's what happens when they land on my blog. 2 things happen. Number 1, it builds my audiences. And number 2, it creates and strengthens my fandom. What's a fandom? Those are my true fans or followers that feel like they know me, like me, and trust me at a very deep level. So once they land on my blog, let's go to the audience building here. I have retargeting code /pixels code within my blog that captures anyone who lands on my blog with the purpose of me retargeting them on specific platforms at a later date. I can retarget them on Google itself when they perform searches. I can retarget them on their Gmail inboxes. I could retarget them on their YouTube searches. I can retarget them on their Facebook timeline. I can retarget them on their LinkedIn timeline, and I can retarget them on their Pinterest timeline. The piece of code for Google, Gmail, and YouTube is called the G tag. The piece of code for Facebook is called the Facebook pixel code. The piece of code for LinkedIn is called the LinkedIn Insight tag. And the piece of code for Pinterest is called the Pinterest tag. These are all separate pieces of code that, yes, I do have in the head tag of my blog code. The person who lands on my blog does not have to fill anything out. I instantly capture them in all of these custom audience as soon as they boom, land on my blog. The next way I build audiences on my blog is I have opt-in forms on my blog. This is to build my email lists. On my blog, I have capture pages, I have webinar invitations, I have lead baits, and I have offers. All of these capture mechanisms require the user to input their email, but I have them all anyways on my custom pixels. or should I say in my custom audiences. So this is like double dipping. I get them twice, which allows me to show myself in front of them on all these platforms. And if they put in their email box now as well. So if you just think about that for just a second here, this is crazy because they land on my blog once and I will be in all of their timelines. And if they put in their email, they will receive emails from me as well. Crazy, right, so far? And finally, arguably the most powerful method is their mobile number, or should I say my mobile number. My blog has my mobile number plastered all over it. It actually doesn't have it yet, but I'm implementing that right now. So I thought I'd throw it into this strategy or this training because it will be on my blog probably by the time you see this. If I had my mobile number now, I would definitely say it to you right now. I'd have it flashing across the screen or something. So what does this do? Well, this allows me to build a text number list and texting campaigns. So this is how I build my audience. When someone comes to my blog, which is the call to action from every single piece of content that goes out on all those 16 platforms. Now let's talk about the fandom. So how do you get people to become true fans? Well, let's talk about the why and the how. So psychologically speaking, true fansmanship is more than a lead. True fansmanship is someone who is actually a follower that knows, likes, and trusts you at a very deep level. Your blog is also engineered to get their attention. The longer they stay on your blog and browse around, the more you have their attention. Getting someone's attention is arguably one of the most difficult things you can do. It's extremely important. The rabbit hole, the Marc Lalonde rabbit hole. That's me, by the way. Hello there. The blog post that they came from, the piece of content that they came from through your CTA, at this point, it intrigued them enough to click on the CTA and end up here on your blog. Therefore, they are probably going to look at another piece of content and maybe another piece of content, then go into another piece of content and fall into what I like to call your rabbit hole. The definition of a rabbit hole, based on, I don't know, Alice in Wonderland, is a hole that they go into and they have a lot of trouble getting out. So the only distractions within your blog are distractions of you. The next thing is we want to get some watch time or listen time. What this means is the more they listen to you or watch you, the more they subconsciously feel like they know you. The more they subconsciously feel attached to you. If you can get anyone to watch or listen to you for 25 hours or more in total time, you've won them over. And you want to get them hooked on the drug called Marc Lalonde or the drug called you. You want them to be addicted to you. That's what your blog will do. How do we do this? With the most powerful blog post you can build. Or should I say, this is how I do it. I got to continue to say this. This is how I get thousands of new leads with every new piece of content I syndicate to those 16 platforms. I'll repeat that a few times throughout this video. The blog post contains, as you will see when I share my screen, it contains an image with no text. It contains a text description. It contains a video with cover art, and the cover art has text. It contains a YouTube link guiding them externally to your YouTube channel. It contains a podcast episode. It contains your micro story, which is your story in 200 words or less. And then the micro story links to your full story. And it also links out to Google. I put algo right here for algorithm because the way we spin people out to Google allows us to actually play the Google algorithm. You'll see exactly what I mean. So this is all within your blog post. Or should I say my blog post. Remember guys, this is what I do. I have to be very clear on that. So next, Let's get a little more specific on what it is that I put on those 16 platforms as content from that one piece of content. Let's use the magic of video so I can reposition the camera and zoom in a little. Here we go. Okay, it looks like we have a pretty awesome swiveling camera angle here. Let's start and repeat the social media platforms, the 7 of them that we syndicate to first. Let's start with YouTube. We have YouTube, we have LinkedIn, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have Pinterest, and we have Tumblr. Next, we have the podcast platforms. We start with SoundCloud because SoundCloud is our podcast host. This is where we host our podcast file. So if you're asking if this is automated, not the social media platforms. They are all done manually, as you will see. But the podcasts are from SoundCloud. My podcast episode is fed to the RSS feed, my RSS feed, and that RSS feed automatically spits out my podcast to the following podcast platforms, starting with iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and then the RSS feed also automatically feeds the home devices, Amazon Alexa and Google Home. This is all done by your RSS feed. So as you will see, when I upload my podcast episode to SoundCloud, it automatically goes to all of those podcast platforms. However, for the social media platforms, we have to do manually. So here we go. Let's go into the specifics a little more. What do I put manually on these social media platforms? Under each social media platform, I put content CTA. Content CTA under each social media platform. So let's go through them because they are all very specific to each platform. On YouTube, the content is the full video. The call to action goes to the blog. On LinkedIn, we do 3 different posts. The different content types are a video clip under 10 minutes, a direct link to my blog, which generates an image on LinkedIn, and the third piece of content is an image. And the call to action for all 3 of these is to send them to my blog. On Twitter, the content is a video clip that is less than 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And the second type of content is an image. And yes, these are 2 different types of content, which means 2 pieces of content on Twitter. On Facebook, the content type is the full video. And on Facebook, there are 2 calls to action. One of them is done automatically and they don't even know it. It's called the Facebook Custom Audience. And what happens is there is code on the video that states that when they watch 3 seconds of the video, bloop, they fall into my Facebook Custom Audience. All they need to do is watch 3 seconds and they don't even know they fell in that audience. I can retarget to them. And the second call to action is, of course, a call to action to my blog. On Instagram, the content is, of course, an image, and the call to action is to my blog. On Pinterest, the content is, there are 2 types on Pinterest. Number 1 is a video clip that is under 15 minutes, and number 2 is an image. And on Pinterest, exactly like with Facebook, there are 2 calls to action. There is also a piece of code in your Pinterest content that captures people in your Pinterest custom audience. And to fall into this, all they need to do on Pinterest is engage with your content. This is any action they take. If they blow up your picture on Pinterest, boom, they fall in there automatically. So really, if they tap or click on any of your content, they don't need to click your blog link. They automatically fall in your Pinterest custom audience. And we also have a blog call to action that they can also click. On Tumblr, the content types are video clip under 2 minutes and an image for a second type of content. The call to action for both of these is to your blog. And remember guys, this is all from your one piece of content, okay? Next, for the SoundCloud, it's very easy. All we do is we upload your sound file. And for that, all I do is I strip the sound off of my content video. I just strip off the sound and there's my podcast episode in WAV format. As soon as I upload it to SoundCloud, it syndicates it to the following platforms. I'll say them quick because I already said them 3 times. iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Amazon Alexa home devices, and Google home devices. Now I had to get approved on every single one of these podcast platforms individually, and all I had to do was submit to them my RSS feed. So let me blow myself up and quickly summarize what I just showed you. Here we go, magic of video. Hey, so that's how I make one piece of content go a very long way. Wouldn't you agree? It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. And this does, in fact, generate thousands, I mean thousands with an S, usually 2,000 or 3,000 new audience members. That's if you combine my lists along with all of my custom audiences. Thousands of new audience members per one video piece of content. So before I close this up, let's go on my computer and I will show you what's happening, how I post, how I do this in my actual social media accounts. All of them, I'll go in them one by one, super quick. And I will also show you how the podcast platforms all got populated from my SoundCloud as well. Now, granted, I did this the other day so that things could start building organically a little bit, and so that SoundCloud actually had a chance to push all of my podcast episodes on all of the platforms. So I did this to my one piece of content probably 3 days ago-ish. I'll share my screen, I'll come back out to you guys, and I'll give you one final summary. Okay, I will begin with my workspace. This is what I create for every single piece of content I create, but before I show you what these items are, I would like to put out a disclaimer right now. And the disclaimer is something I've repeated a couple of times throughout this video, and I will probably repeat a few more times before this video ends. And the disclaimer is this. This is what I do. I syndicate to all of these platforms. I cut up my content in a certain way, and it does require some work. Common questions I usually get are, number 1, do you do this all yourself, Marc? Let's answer that now. Yes, I do. And the second most popular question is, do I have to do all that too? And my answer is always, you don't have to do anything. This is what I do. And sometimes I'll get the third question, why do you do all of this work? Is it really worth it? And my answer to that is pretty simple. Because I am playing big, therefore I'm putting in the work to create the best quality I can and syndicate to the most platforms. And yes, it is for sure worth it. So the disclaimer's out of the way. This is what I do. Here we go. I create a folder for every piece of content, and then I break up my content in the following formats, if you will. This is just the way I personally organize things. So my text description is in a Word document. Then I have 4 images. Then I have the podcast episode. Then I have a 2-minute clip. Then I have a 10-minute clip. Then I have a full video clip of my content. And this is the original piece of content that everything is derived from, which is usually a bunch of ramble and a bunch of silent gaps. And these files with the C here are simply the Camtasia project files. That's my editing software. So here's what my description looks like. Super short. Here are what my images look like. I have one image that has no text on it. I have another image that does have text on it. It's the heading of my blog post. This is used for the YouTube cover art. Then I have a square image that is for Instagram. Then I have another square image that is for my podcast episode cover art. So once I have all of these formats ready to go and organized here, I'm ready to start syndicating. Okay, we'll start with YouTube because YouTube is where I host my video, and then we'll go directly to SoundCloud because that is where I host my audio/podcast episode. Now I'm not going to re-explain everything that I just explained on my whiteboard. What I'll do is I'll just show you how I did this just a couple of days ago. So for YouTube, we have the full video that I simply uploaded to my YouTube account. And then in the description, I have the call to action to my blog. Let's click that. There it is. YouTube done. Then I go to my SoundCloud and I upload the audio episode, of course, with the podcast episode cover art that I just showed you. Now remember that SoundCloud's sole purpose is to be used as the hosting platform for my RSS feed, which will feed all the other podcast platforms. Side note, I also upload the YouTube cover art to my YouTube video, the cover art that I just showed you for my YouTube. Let's go back to SoundCloud. Even though I don't use my SoundCloud account for bringing people back to my blog, I do include all of my social media links in my SoundCloud account right here. Now let's get the podcast syndication out of the way now since we're here, because as soon as I do this on my SoundCloud, it goes to all other 6 podcasting platforms as well as the home devices, all automatically. So my piece of content is Surpass Your Hero but Stay Humble. Let's go take a glimpse on all those platforms. I've got the tabs already open. Let's go. So here we have iTunes. There it is. Surpass Your Hero but Stay Humble. I did nothing for this to end up here. Next, Spotify. There we have it. Surpass Your Hero but Stay Humble. Next, Stitcher. There it is. Surpass Your Hero but Stay Humble. Let's go to Google Podcasts. There it is. Surpass Your Hero but Stay Humble. Let's go to iHeartRadio. If you're not on iHeartRadio, it's huge. I just learned that. So there it is. Surpass Your Hero but Stay Humble. And the last one is Pandora, which I'm still waiting on approval from. Depending on when you're seeing this piece of content, I will probably have been approved on Pandora as well by then. But I do nothing. The process is the same. I simply upload to my SoundCloud account. The rest takes care of itself. Now let's check the home devices. I do not have a Google Home device, but I do have an Amazon Alexa. Let me turn her on and turn up her volume. She's right beside me. Alexa, volume 6. Alexa, what's my news?
Here's your news. From Life Hacks with the Wealthy Trainer podcast.
Hey guys, Marc with a C here. Have you ever surpassed one of your heroes, but then you got cocky only to find Alexa, stop. Let me mute her again. Perfect. So there we go. Syndication to all podcast platforms done. Now let's continue on social media platforms. Let's do LinkedIn. As previously discussed, I uploaded the video clip here, which is less than 10 minutes long for LinkedIn and has a call to action at the end. You can watch the rest of this video by clicking the link in the description. There's the link that goes to my blog. Perfect. Then I have the direct blog post link as a second post, which when clicked goes directly to my blog and generates the image from my blog post. Let's click that. Perfect. And the third piece of content that we put on LinkedIn is the image, which is the cover art we use for YouTube. Let's test that link. Perfect. Okay, so the next platform will be Twitter. I'm going to scroll down. This is my pinned tweet. You can ignore that. Here they are, the two posts. We've got the 2-minute video clip with a call to action to go to the blog post. Let's test it. Perfect. So video clip and image as the second piece of content on Twitter. Once again, it's the same image that we use for cover art on YouTube and that we just used on LinkedIn, with once again call to action to the blog. Perfect. Next is Facebook. Now I only use Facebook to run ads. I'm not sure if you use Facebook otherwise, but I do not use my personal profile. I spend 0 time on Facebook. Facebook has not served me in the past, but on that note, I don't spend any time on social media. So this is a business page. This is where I post my content on Facebook. It's on my business page. And on Facebook, I post the full video. And since I only use this to run ads, I always run a $20 ad on the piece of content that I just uploaded. So it's pretty simple for Facebook. My $20 ad for myself brings back about 2,000 views. That's what $20 will bring me on a Facebook content ad. And the only call to action I have on my ad is to go to my blog right here. Let's test it. Perfect. And remember that Facebook had 2 types of calls to action. The one I just showed you, of course, is if they click on the button to go to my blog post. But remember, the full video is here on Facebook. So anyone who watches 3 seconds of this video falls into my Facebook custom audience. 1, 2, 3. Blink. They fall into my custom audience. So the numbers I'm experiencing on these ads is $20 gets me about 2,000 views. And out of those 2,000 views, about 500 of them fall into my custom audience. It's actually closer to 1,000. So again, these are people that saw 3 seconds of your video. I can't really go into details on this piece of content on how to set this up, but it's called an engagement audience, and you could set it up for 3 seconds. So that's all I do on Facebook. Then of course I retarget to that audience afterwards, but once again, that's out of the scope of this training. Okay, next, Instagram. Okay, Instagram is a little unique for me because Instagram, you can only have a clickable link in your description, in your bio, I mean. So once again, I'm going to say the disclaimer here. This is what I do to maximize my results. I've never taught this before, so I'll just tell you what I do, and maybe someday I'll create a mini training on how I do this because it's extremely effective. So this is my main Instagram account where I post all kinds of pictures, mumbo jumbo, just basically my life, of course. It's Instagram, right? But then when I create a piece of content, I include cover art from my blog post and cover art for my podcast episode. Now I also have an Instagram account for my episodes. That's a different Instagram account. And I also have a different Instagram account for all my podcast episodes. That's a different Instagram account again. Why do I do that? Because if I go back to my original Instagram, when I make a post on my original Instagram and someone clicks to go take a look, you cannot put a link here. You always have to say, click the link in my bio. But the way you can cheat that is by putting another account with the @ symbol, and it acts like a link. So I have a rabbit hole within Instagram, and the way it works is if they see this and they're interested, they click here and they go to that account itself, which is all of my posts. And from here, they can actually see another episode that may interest them. And when they click a post from here, here it says, watch this episode by using the link in my bio. and inputting part of this episode's title in the search bar on my blog. So when a tragedy becomes a blessing, if they go and click the link in my bio here, here's what happens. They go to my search page, and if they just type in any part of that title, let's type in blessing, boom, there it is. They could go directly to that blog post. And then if I go to my original Instagram account again, if they do this with the podcast episode, it kind of works in the same fashion. They could check out the episode by clicking this account, which has all of my podcast episodes. And if they click one of these, it tells them to click the link in my bio. Except in this case, if they click the link in my bio on this account, here's where they go. They do go to my blog, but they get to select which platform they want to listen to the podcast on. Okay, so that's my Instagram process. That's what I do on my Instagrams with S, since I have 3 accounts. Next is Pinterest. On Pinterest, I have the video clip, 10 minutes or less, which is the same clip I use on LinkedIn. And then I have the image right here. So that's 2 posts for Pinterest. And on those posts, of course, there is the call to action to my blog. Let's click that. Perfect. And also remember that Pinterest has a custom audience within Pinterest, very much like the Facebook custom audience. So as soon as someone clicks, taps, or expands any of my posts, they instantly get thrown into my custom audience right here. So this is 164,000 custom audience members. Don't get caught up on the number. Just keep in mind, these are absolutely free. And many of them actually do click through to my blog. And also keep in mind that an account with 1 million monthly viewers is going to generate a lot of stuff. Okay, next is Tumblr. On Tumblr, we add the video clip, 2-minute video clip with a call to action to the blog post. Let's try. Perfect. And then we add the image exactly like we just did on Pinterest, except on Tumblr, you want to put the 2-minute video clip. I realize Tumblr can house a longer video clip, such as a 10-minute clip, but the reason I keep the 2-minute clip on Tumblr is because you are limited to how much video you can upload in a certain period of time. I believe it's 10 minutes worth in a 24 or 48 hour period. And sometimes I create several pieces of content in one day. So the 2-minute clips are perfect for Tumblr. Both calls to action on Tumblr go directly to the blog. And we just syndicated 1 piece of content to 16 platforms just now. Okay, now let me show you the blog post itself in its entirety, and then I will come back out to you guys and give you a final short summary. Let's go right here, click that. Here it is. So this is the actual blog post itself. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. Here is the plain image, of course, without the text. If you're asking where I get these images, I just go to Google and I grab them. That's how I grab my images. I don't have a license for the images, but I recommend you probably look into that yourself. I'm telling you, here we go, disclaimer time. I'm telling you what I do. If someone doesn't like this image and, I don't know, DC Comics contacts me, I will take it down. Talk about not leaving any stone unturned, right? Then I have my text description. Then we scroll down. I have the YouTube video. That's just an embed code that I grabbed from YouTube. Then I have the YouTube external link. Is Hero. Then I have the full podcast episode that can be listened to directly from here. Hey guys, Marc with a C here. Just like the video can be watched directly from here. Most people do. And then below every blog post, I have my micro story right here, which is 200 words or less. And then I have a link to my full story right here. That is my full story in long form, probably one of the most popular pages on my blog. It's about that long. I'd say about 5,000 words. And my story also links from my name right here. And here's where I play the Google algorithm right with this link. What this link does is it submits the wealthy trainer to the Google search engine. And that's going to be coming from all kinds of IPs, right? So anyone who clicks on this, depending on where they are from in the world, Google thinks that a lot of people are actually searching the wealthy trainer. So without going into the details, all I did was I put in the following link. It's google.com/search $Q equals the +wealthy +trainer. If you want to link to your own Google search queries, then just rewind this video. I won't repeat that character string. So if I click that, look at what happens. It goes to Google searching the wealthy trainer. And what this has done for me, it's helped me own those keywords. The wealthy trainer is my brand. So because so many people click that link, it's on every blog post I have, and it's coming from everywhere in the world, Google is promoting me like crazy under those 3 keywords. There are many wealthy trainer brands in the world. And if I were to type in the wealthy trainer in Google a couple of years ago, you would never even see me. But now take a look. Right here, that goes to my blog. Let's go back. What's next? This goes to my YouTube channel. Boom. Yeah. If I go back, what's the third link? That would go to my Instagram. Let's go back. What's the next link? What's that? That looks like LinkedIn. Is that my LinkedIn? Boom. That is my LinkedIn. What's the next one? Oh, it's my Facebook. Must be logged in. I'm not logged in this browser. What's the next one? Oh, those are my listen notes. Beautiful. That's all me. What's the next one? Amazon. Probably my Alexa skill. Yes, awesome. What's my next one? Okay, once again, for the US and Canadian Alexa skill. Beautiful. Thank you, Google. Thank you, Google. What's this? That's my Stitcher. Awesome. So I literally own the first full page, and it goes on and on and on. If I were to go to images, a couple of years ago, I dreamt of having one image of mine under the wealthy trainer. Now I basically own the entire page. It's crazy stuff. So how did this happen? Well, it happened because of this link. And that is the perfect blog post, ladies and gentlemen. Now let me come back out to you and briefly summarize everything we went through in this piece of content. Here I come. There you go. That's what I do with each new piece of content I create. And what's crazy about this, guys, is that the longer your content is out there, the more audience members it continues to fill your cups with, and the more it creates a fandom of new audience members, as well as strengthens your current audience members' fandom, or should I say fansmanship. And just a little something that's really crazy about this, guys, is that about a year ago, less than a year ago, what I used to do is create a piece of content, put it on my Facebook timeline, hope for the best, look at the views, and that was it. I had to create a new piece of content the next week and hope for the best again. It didn't go far at all. So there you have it. So as the title of this piece of content states, guys, this is what I do to each piece of content that I create, why I do it, and how I do it. Marc Lalonde signing off, and have a great day. Bye-bye now. Am I back? Ooh, wasn't that intense? I loved it. You know what I'm going to show you guys? I'm going to show you guys something. I want to talk about 2 things real quick, okay? If that's cool with you, I'm going to talk about it anyways. The strategy is pretty straightforward, right? Now, a couple of tips. In that piece of content, there's subconsciously, I want to teach you that too. I want to show you guys what I do. Like there's two kind of purposes tonight. Purpose number one is, yes, I want you to create beautiful content in Content Creators. You guys see me fine, right? Please let me know in the chat. That'd be awesome. And hear me? Thank you. Thank you. Number one is, of course, the lesson. I want you to create beautiful, tactical, practical content where you are the teacher. That's the real goal of this tonight, is for you to that's the goal of this whole Content Creators thing, is for you to create some content so that we could put it in the course in your module. Two things, but let me just to reiterate on last week. You don't have to replicate the assignments exactly. All we need at the end of all this, by September 3rd, let me triple check again, September 3rd, 2 more weeks. By September 3rd, you need to have any piece of content not necessary to use any of the strategies I taught. This is made to improve your skills, to give you ideas, and there was a third one. Oh yeah, to twit. I talked about that last week. So it's just, these are lessons to improve your skills, give you ideas, and to teach what I teach to others. Twit is a perfect example of, this would be twitting. This would be teaching what I teach if you're getting your idea from me. You don't have to exactly replicate the assignments, okay? And you don't have to submit one every week. The more you submit, the better, because they go in the group and everybody in the group sees them. And in the end, you get to choose which one you want as a permanent fixture in your module in the Content Creators course. That should be clear. Now, the two purposes I had today. Number one was tactical, practical, to get you to create your tactical content. I can't wait to see some of you in the teacher's chair. That's number one. Number two, that's kind of like a hidden little thing, a hidden little subconscious teaching I wanted to put out there, is my content. The content I just showed you, the thousands of new custom audience members. Does that blow you away what I can do with one piece of content though? Like, I want you guys in the chat. It blows me away. I love the content that I created. I'm very proud of it, and that's what matters. Will it help others or not? I don't see how I can't. If I would have seen that, yes, there are things that people were going to have to figure out, but it's almost like I put it all out there in a way, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I kind of am. If you take that seriously and you perfect that process, my Rubik's Cube content there, the superhero one, if you surpass your hero, that one that I just showed, that thing right now is building up my custom audiences like crazy. It's only been a week, and my custom audiences are exploding from that. My leads are coming in like crazy. The people going to my blog, all of my LinkedIn Insight tag, all those custom audiences, they're getting populated off that one piece. It's been running for 3-4 days now since I applied that strategy. It's everywhere. It's on every podcast episode. My podcast numbers are coming up. I put up a podcast episode now. After the first day, I may get a couple of hundred. Those are hundreds of listens for a guy like me. I just started this, and we're just stripping from the piece of content. And they generally get, it appears, 500, 600 over a week of listens. It's on so many platforms. So in other words, one piece of content is going, as I said, a long way. It's crazy. So That's also what I subconsciously wanted you to learn from today. I'm like, if I'm going to create a tactical, practical piece of content, let's make it so good, Mark, that you guys apply that strategy. As a matter of fact, I'm going to flip my camera here because that piece of you guys know you guys saw what I did with, I call it the Captain America content, but it's not, just because his picture's on there. The Surpass Your Hero one, the Rubik's Cube one. You guys saw what I did with that. You just saw in the content. That's happening so fast now. I'm able to do that so quick now that the syndication process for me is nothing. It's like I'm doing it with that piece of content you guys just saw. I'll do it tomorrow, okay? On Friday. It's Thursday. And I'll have it done within half an hour, maybe an hour. Because all this stuff is prepared. I prepared my 2-minute video clip. As soon as I do my content, yes, it's edited, but as soon as I do my content, right then and there, I cut out the 10-minute clip. I cut out the 2-minute clip. I do the 3 or the 4 works of art. And I do the podcast. I just strip the sound and I write out my content super quick. And that's ready to go. I'm gonna share with you real quick. Can I flip my camera? Is it okay if I flip my camera? What'd you think of the ladybug? The ladybug is still in my light. Let me flip my camera because I want to show you on my computer screen. Or should I share my screen again? Here, let me just do this. Let me flip the camera phone. Okay, can you guys see that? It worked. Okay, so let me take it off of the tripod. I don't know if you'll see the ladybug in there. Ladybug's still in there. It's still alive. There we go. A little behind the scenes. Where is he? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to my computer here and check this out. See that? I'm just pointing at my computer. That, folks, is exactly what I did in my content, but for that piece of content. So I have my podcast episode. I have my 2-minute clip, my 10-minute clip, and my full video. There's the original. There are the 4 graphics. Here, I have them right here. See? Graphic number 1. Or is that number 1? Let me see. Okay, that's number 1 with no text. Just like in the video. Number 2 for the Instagram. Number 3 for the podcast. Number 4 for the YouTube. Okay, now let me come back to you. I just wanted to show you how quickly I'm doing this now. So I create a piece of content. I make all of these things. Let me come back. I'm going to come back out to you. I'm flipping. Let me just get you back on the tripod. This is kind of cool. Let me flip the camera. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I like trying new things like that. Did everything work out good with the camera flip and everything? That was cool. That was awesome. Cool. So, here's my point. I'm getting so good at this octo-contenting process that my piece of content continues to work for me at such a, this is all organic too, at such a, it just keeps growing and it keeps bringing people in. It almost doesn't stop. So I'm getting so good at it that it's becoming second nature. I'll give you guys a little bit something to look forward to. If this is a skill that I'm mastering, I have a machine and I have to do it. Of course, there's a lot of manual process, but there's a lot of setting it up too. Octo content. Octo content model is a course that that's what I'm getting good at. Octo contenting, we call it. And it excites me because I think it was last week. Who remembers when I said there will come a day where I will create one piece of content per day, 5 per week? Who remembers me saying that? I was wrong. I don't want to do one per week. I don't want, you remember me saying that? probably thinking Marc's going to have another burnout. I would. But here's why I was wrong. I can admit it when I'm wrong. I was wrong because I'm seeing now with the Surpass Your Hero and with the Tragedy Becomes a Blessing, with the 2 pieces of content we did and content creators, those 2 weeks, they're still growing on their own. So if I do 1 per day, people don't have time to consume the one I did. It's almost like there's a reason why a lot of famous YouTubers do their content once per week, and they only do it on YouTube. It's fantastic. People don't know how successful I am, because they see, oh, he's only got a couple of hundred views on his YouTube. Poor Marc Lalonde. They don't know I'm on 16 platforms, which is good. No one sees your audiences or your list. But here's where I'm going with this: 1 per week, which was the WMO, weekly method of operation. If you can do 1 per week, I think is the optimal number. Because, like, for example, I think I'm going to do mine every Friday. I'm going to upload this one and syndicate it tomorrow. I think every Friday will be my new content release day. Every Friday. I think I'm going to shoot for that. Because it gives people, your fans, followers, the entire week to catch up on the content that you released. You know what I'm saying? If you do 5 per week, a lot of your hard work and value, you're going to work your ass off and you're going to probably burn out, first of all. But second of all, if you had a team like Gary Vee releasing every day, I can't even keep up with Gary Vee. So I'm missing out a lot of stuff. So instead of me creating 5 pieces per week, I'd rather take all that time and energy and create 1 beautiful quality piece per week. Does that make sense? I think no matter how much of a grinder you are, I think 1 per week is perfect. Because then, once your content's done, you let it sit. I'm going to get into something in a sec here before we call it a night. But you can let it sit. And whenever it's time to syndicate, like that's sitting right there. I don't have to release that tomorrow, but I want to because we're going to have another one next week. And I think I'm going to do this per week. But do you see how you can let it sit? Get it all done on Monday if you can, or Monday or Tuesday. Put the quality into it. Then you have the rest of the week off until you're ready to release that content. 1 per week. Does that make sense? It's not too much to ask. And this way, you give it time to grow and reach more people and bring in more people. And you give people a chance to catch up on it. You know, some people won't be able to see it on Friday. Maybe they can only get it on the next Wednesday. And some of your quality content is not going to go unnoticed. If I do 5 per week, most people are going to miss most of your stuff. They can't consume that much. No one can. Oh, we didn't see the ladybug. I don't know where she is. I'm going to call her Lady Ashley. That's her name. She's still alive. It's been a couple of days she's been in there. Should I get her out? No, I think they like light. Ladybugs are funny. There was a ladybug in the gym downstairs in the condo. It's closed right now because of the virus, and that ladybug was in the change room, always in the same corner, like just always there. I'm telling you guys, for weeks. What do they do? What do they eat? Do you think she went around, ate bugs, and went back to her little corner? Kind of weird. Can anyone tell me that in the chat? So now I'm gonna share something profound with you guys, only because it's my birthday. It's my birthday. I have got a batch of content that I'm starting to create in folders like that, so that when it's time for Friday, guess what? It's time to do what I just taught in that content. Now, did you guys know that you can schedule, I believe, on just about every platform? Preload them. Like I could preload a year's worth of content, yo. I could preload a year's worth of content, yo. And in YouTube, you could I'm not going to teach that because I'm still trying to figure it out, because it's got to be native to the platforms. I'm not going to use automation software. I need to upload it to the platforms and say release it on that date. How cool would that be? That's super cool. And let me tell you why. I'm thinking more at the level of a CEO here. If I spend one day, one 16-hour day, that's my work day. Hypothetically, I may do this. You can spend one 16-hour day and create 4 pieces of content, create all the images, all the podcast episodes, very doable in one day. A 16-hour day. I'm talking about for me, always. So I'm gonna say what I do. If I do that in one day, and I get 4 folders like that ready, like when I flipped my camera and like you just saw, and I get 4 folders like that ready in one day, that means, let's say the month has 30 days, that means my content has been created in one day, because I'm only releasing 1 per week. And if I could preload it in all the social media, every social media, which I think I can, you can do it in SoundCloud, schedule them so they release on a certain day. That'll push to all the podcasts. And you could do it on YouTube, and you can do it on Twitter, and you can do it, you use the platforms themselves. You don't use automation software. They all have it. I just got to learn how to do it on each one. So I could literally upload all my stuff on Twitter, upload all my stuff on LinkedIn, schedule it for a certain date. I'm sure they all have it. I know YouTube does, Twitter does, Facebook does, maybe Instagram. Instagram, I use the software. It's called Lately. It's a cool software. I use that to schedule my Instagrams. I'm learning it because what I'd like to do, like I said, imagine this: spend one day, create them all, and then you have 29 days off. Heck, if you want to be ambitious, you do 52 pieces in like a week. Then you got your whole year off. I wouldn't do that though. Well, I don't know. No, because my content will always evolve. I like to stay very current of what's going on. So I'm not going to do a year of content. No, I could be talking about something that's relevant. I like to keep my stuff fresh and with what's going on in the world. My content evolves, just like I do. Pretty mind-blowing when you look at it that way, right? Because then you could, well, if you're asking yourself, what are you going to do for the 29 other days? I'm going to do real business stuff, yo. I'm going to build real businesses, like real businesses. I don't only produce content all day long, but this is a great way to free up my time to sell stuff, guys. Build big high-level relationships, get big contracts with corporations. Okay? I hope that was a lot of food for thought today. I hope you enjoyed my content. It is my birthday after all, and if you think my evening is over, oh, you are wrong. It's Thursday night, and I'm if you care, I am having a birthday celebration this evening. I am. I'm just looking at the time. About half an hour it begins. But there's no alcohol. It's a completely different from the olden days. I'm having some company over, if you must know. Amazing. Session 3 of Content Creators. Get out of your comfort zone. I can't wait to see your tactical, practical content. And there we have it. I'll see you guys next Thursday. You will get the invitation link early next week. And you won't get the topic until the webinar invitation page. Amazing birthday webinar. Thank you for attending. Thank you for spending time with me on my birthday. I love you all. I'll see you guys next Thursday. Bye-bye.